Say it with me, for we walk by faith, not by sight.
Good morning, everybody. This is going to be Saturday morning, so good Saturday morning, happy weekend. I'm John with Cheap Old Cars and Corners. This is my cheap old car. You can see a little bit of another cheap old car out there. These Mustangs are fun. They're cheap, they're easy to work on. I love them. Today's video, we're going to talk about tires. I'm tired of seeing, I've talked about this a little bit in other videos, but I'm just getting tired of seeing these crazy, almost race tires on street cars. And yeah, they're DOT legal, so they're street cars, but I'm really tired of seeing this, okay? I don't care what the Mustang GTD's lap time is on a tire with as much tread pattern as my garage floor, right? It's super sticky. These tires last 10,000 miles or so. It just doesn't do anything for me. And the reason that doesn't do anything for me is because it's almost unobtainium, right? And I understand, I do the cheap old cars thing, my income level's not super high, all that stuff, okay? So I'm not the guy that's going to the track and buying a set of tires for every track day or 2 or 3 track days or something like that. That's not me, man. I like to actually drive my cars. Like, it's rainy. I'm going to take one of those two out for a drive here in just a little bit because you can't see it. There's the red V6 out there too. I might take it for a drive. I enjoy driving on a nice rainy day. You can probably hear the rain in my microphone and maybe some thunder too. That'd be kind of cool. I just love a rainy day. I don't know why, but because of that, I need a tire that can do well in the rain. I'm looking down here. These are Sumitomo tires. They're a 320 tread wear tire. They've been surprisingly adequate, right? That, you know, I keep wanting to say, well, it's Sumitomo, it's kind of a cheap tire, but this has been a good tire. This is a redesign. That's like the second generation of their more sporty summer tire or whatever. And it's been perfectly fine. I got 265s in the front, 285s in the rear. But really, they're very similar in terms of the tread on the road because the gaps between the tread blocks on the rear are wider than the front. And so I'm like, it's almost the same. It's like a square setup that looks like a staggered setup. Anyway, when I was working with Maximum Motorsports to figure out a spring package for this car, you know, they were asking me, am I going to go to a square setup? Am I going to go to a stickier tire? Because a lot of what they have in their head is, well, it's for cornering, right? And for cornering is autocross on a dry, warm summer day, or road course on a dry, warm summer day. Because that's what a lot of people do with their cars. That's not what I want to do. I want to drive it all the time. And I've talked about this before, but it's in the 50s out there and it's raining and I'm wearing shorts. It feels great to me. I like going for drives in the rain when it's not hot, right? So to me, a street car can do all those things. Yes, I get that, you know, a ZR1, GTD Mustang, all these things, and then like track pack Mustangs, like I get that they are street legal and you could take them out. But when you're at that level of car with those tires and different things, no one's taking them out anymore. They're dry summer weekend cars. And that's getting away from a car to me. Because although this thing is sport, I mean, it's low horsepower, 265 for the Bullet is what it was rated at. And I'm going to do all this stuff that you guys can't really see that much of, but it's in the floor. I got my IRS, got my subframe connectors, got my coilover springs. Let's pick this guy up. Here's one of my rear coilover springs. 500 pounder for the rear with the IRS, little short guy. I think it's 8 inches. My Bilstein shocks and struts should be in soon. I think that's the last piece of what I ordered. I do need to order some more. That's a different thing. But I don't want to change away from tires that I can go out and drive anytime. Because to me, that, like I said a second ago, that just kind of ruins the car aspect of it. The point of a vehicle is to drive it, yeah? And if you want to sit in your garage, you know, if you want your car to sit in your garage all the time and low miles and all that thing, whatever, that's fine. I don't care, right? I'm not saying you got to go drive them and beat on them and tear them up. You know, if you want to have something nice and keep it nice, the use of it does have to come down. There are trade-offs, I understand that, right? And like these tires are a trade-off at 320 tread wear. They're not going to last as long as some other tires would. You know, I could run a 560 tread wear tire that'd last a lot longer. And so I'm giving up longevity of tires to a point. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's to a point. And I guess for me, that point is a lot more towards daily drivable than a lot of people's sporty cars are. So eventually I do want to change the wheels and tires. I found some Kumhos that are 260 tread wear, and they do look like they can do decent in the rain. But that's going to be a spare set. That's not going to be the main set of tires. So I want to run those on an 18 by 9.5, maybe an 18 by 10, on like a 285/35 all the way around. If I end up with the 18 by 9, I'll probably run a 275/35 all the way around. But 285 would be pretty cool. You know, I'd have an extra set of wheels and tires on the wall over there. But I'm not going to go any lower than that. I'm not going to get a 200 tread wear tire, a 100 tread wear tire, or 180 or whatever. I'm not going to do that because I'm limiting what I can do with the car. And then that brings me to kind of my next point. I'm getting really tired of these lap time conversations of like, oh, the Mustang GTD can do this around the Nürburgring. Well, you know, James May said it right, and I love the Nürburgring. I've done maybe 1,000-ish laps, maybe a little, you know, plus or minus 100 on the Nürburgring in a sim racer. I used to have a full like sim racing setup. I don't have that setup anymore. I still have my cockpit and chair and everything, but I sold the wheel and pedals and all the mechanical bits because I don't know, I just got out of it, didn't have the time for it. I'm kind of wanting to get back in it now. That aside, I love the Nürburgring. It's a fun track to run, but it's full of fast sweepers, okay? And fast sweepers require a certain suspension setup. That suspension setup is extremely stiff and uncomfortable. So I agree with James May there, like making your car Nürburgring specific kind of ruins some of the car of it. And when I say the car of it, I mean just the ability to get in, go, and have fun, right? And so you got these GTDs, and I'm talking about that one. It's on my mind this morning. 4,300 pounds. 4,300 pounds. So that's ridiculous. It's very capable, but this Mustang and its weight only needs a 255 tire front and rear to have the same contact patch per overall weight of the car as the GTD does with its current, you know, its factory tires. That's ridiculous. Am I saying this could beat a GTD? No, but if I sent this to Multimatic and had them fully turn it into a race car, yeah. I mean, you could do an 800 horse motor. You could run tires that are narrower but have the same tread compound and have the same lateral grip as that car. You'd have to change suspension, you know, a short, long arms front suspension, probably this IRS with mods, or even something completely different than this. It could be done. It'd be a lot of money, but the GTD is a lot of money. But I'm getting really tired of that. I understand they want to set the better lap time. They want to do this and always be quicker and always be... I want something completely different. What I want to see is a standardized tire in car tests. So Car and Driver, Haggerty, Road and Track, all these, they do all these tests, and you're like looking at these lap times of these cars and stuff, but everyone's going to be on a Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2R before long. Everyone's going to be on that tire because it has the most grip. And when another tire comes out that has more grip, that comes in the sizes they need it or is made specifically for a car, everyone's going to be on that tire. And it's getting ridiculous because we're not looking at the cars anymore. We're not looking at what the cars can do. And honestly, I think we've about tapped out suspension design. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but I feel like we've pushed cars, the mechanical aspects of the car, about as far as we can do. And what everything comes down to now is the grip of your tire. So if you can run the Pilot Sport Cup 2R in a wider setup, now obviously you're going to still need suspension designed to utilize that tire, right? Because if you have a really soft car that rolls around and stuff, you're not going to utilize the tire as well. But what I'm saying when I say suspensions are tapped out, I don't mean like cars have perfect suspensions. I mean that with computer modeling and everything that we have these days, you can get to the best suspension design for your vehicle that you're making a lot quicker and easier and more perfectly than we were in the past before all this ridiculous computing that we have. So what I'd love to see in a magazine is when a sports car comes out, okay, they get as close to a 300 to 350 tread wear tire as they can for it. And the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S is a good tire. They dry rot quickly from what I understand. They don't last a long time, 6-7 years instead of tires like these. Even 320 tread wear is probably going to be here in the garage, it'll probably hold up for 10 years before I need to replace it. It'll be harder by that point. It won't be as grippy as it was from the factory, but some of these Michelins at 7-8 years are like cracking. Anyway, that's what I'd love to see is more of a standardized tire. So we're not seeing the grip of the tires. We're seeing what the car itself can do. obviously that comes into you run into an issue there of beyond 500-600 horsepower. You need those really grippy tires to hook up out of some of these corners. You know, unless you're running a big fat contact patch of mostly rubber on the road and no siping and tread block gaps and different things and a really grippy compound, these cars aren't going to hook up out of corners, okay? And so, you know, if let's say a Mustang GTD or a ZR1 was on a 320 tread wear tire, I say 320 just because that's what these are, 300, 350, somewhere in there. But if they were on that tire, the cars would actually have to limit the power output quite a bit, or the driver would have to limit the power output to keep them hooked up. I'm not so much worried about lap times though, because the lap times have a lot of things that go into them, okay? I'm not as much worried about that. I want to know in a review of a car how it does around a corner with tires that I might actually use on a day like today. Because it's a car and I'm going to drive it. If it's a street car, you're going to drive it. You're going to take it out in the rain and the water. What's it do on that, right? Maybe we need to have a bit of a different classification. Now, obviously, there's like track day toys and stuff that are street legal. But maybe we need to look at, you know, maybe a car magazine, let's say, should have a limit and cut off and beyond this point set up, like kind of like Gran Turismo's PowerPoint thing. But beyond a certain thing, whatever that set is, it's a track day car. And track day cars have their own groups of lap times and stuff, and then your more normal cars have their things. And what I see a lot is like it's a road car, so all road cars go in this one big list of lap times. I don't care about lap times with ultra grippy, gummy, sticky tires. I don't care. I don't care what that can do around a track, because what it comes down to is the tire that's on it. That's it. I want to see stuff that like you're comparing 2 or 3 cars and they have a similar tire. I watched one video on YouTube and it was absolutely great. This guy was comparing a C5Z06 versus another car. I don't remember what it was. They actually got a narrower wheel and tire for the C5Z06 to have the same weight per contact patch per tire on the car. And so they were running narrower in the front and really narrow in the rear to have to match it to what this other guy's car was. Now, obviously the guy with the Corvette had the money to be able to do that, right? But that and I wouldn't expect most automotive magazines to like changing wheel and tire sizes and stuff. I'm talking, you know, what I'm saying is like the same size tire, but not a Cup 2R, okay? Not a Cup 2R. That's just a ridiculous thing. It's a race tire. It really is. I know it's not technically and all the things, but for all intents and purposes, it's as sticky of a tire as we have right now to create these ultimately low lap times. The GTD shouldn't weigh 4,300 pounds, guys. It just shouldn't. It's ridiculous. That car would be so much better with the contact patch and the rubber it has on it if it were 1,000 pounds lighter. Same downforce, 1,000 pounds lighter, it'd be such a better car. Now, maybe the horsepower at that point would overwhelm the car because it wouldn't have as much mechanical grip from friction of the weight of the car. Pull some power back out of it. 1,000 pounds less, you could probably pull 200, 250 horsepower out of it, and it'd be the same. Be the same around the track, right? But if you can make it lighter, you can take that supercharger off. You take supercharger off, then you have less weight on the nose. If you have less weight on the nose, but let's say, I can't remember, I think it has close to a 50-50 weight distribution, then you can take some weight out of the rear. And you can just bring the whole weight of the car down, keep your dynamics the same, and run the same lap time without the extra complication and heat of a supercharger. Without all the weight. I really don't care. If your car has a supercharger on the front and your weight's still balanced and everything, great. That's awesome. It's just 4,300 pounds, guys. And you have to run these ultra sticky tires to make it do something. What does a GTD do versus a Mustang GT Track Pack 2 or whatever on Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's? A Michelin Pilot Sport all seasons? What does it do? What's the difference in the lap time? That's what I want to know. How much is that car, the car, how much is it better than this car? And you're not going to see that if this car is on a 300 something tread wear tire and this car is on a 180 tread wear tire. You're not going to see the difference in the car. You're seeing the difference in the tire more than anything. Obviously downforce and stuff, yeah, that's a thing. Like if one car has very low downforce, another car has very high downforce, it's going to be a huge difference. And that is the car. That is mechanical aspects of the car. I just want to see less of the difference of what the tire can do. And I really think if we rolled back some of these crazy tires on these sports cars these days, their lap times around tracks would be very similar to cars from 10, 15 years ago. I don't think there'd really be that much of a difference. You know, I don't remember the actual numbers, and I might look it up and add it to the screen here. I don't know if it's even relevant really, but the Carrera GT, the Porsche Carrera GT, they've worked with, I think Michelin, I can't remember exactly, but they've come out with a new tire that's officially recognized by the factory for that car. And its lap time around the Nürburgring was multiple seconds less. I don't remember exactly right now. That car needed a better tire from the get-go, I understand, with its propensity to come around. But again, what'll it do with this tire and what'll it do with this tire? It's obviously better with this tire. Maybe the car shouldn't have been so tail happy. You can change that in how the car's set up. You could change that with the suspension. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to do. You know, I know car magazines aren't going to do that. That's what I will do if this channel grows. My views recently have been absolute garbage. I've been getting 4 to 15 views on stuff. I feel like I'm making good videos, but no one's seeing them. So I actually will say this: the people who see my videos click on them more. Okay, it's called your click-through rate. My click-through rate is up sometimes as high as 10%, which I think is pretty good for automotive YouTube channels. And I've seen some other people talk about, some bigger names in the automotive YouTube space, talk about their click-through rates, and 10-12%, pretty good. And I'm also getting, typically, after my video's out for a while, I get about 10% of my subscriber count is watching my videos, and that is very similar to a lot of the bigger YouTube channels. Okay, so it's like my metrics are good, but my overall subscriber count is not up there. I'm getting, like I said, I'm getting the same percentage of click-through rate and the same percentage of, well, hey doggy, the same percentage of click-through rate, and I'm getting a very similar percentage of viewers per subscriber count, but my subscriber count's very low, and I need to grow the subscriber count. I'm working on that. I know I'm not the most entertaining guy, and I know I lean into more of the nerdy stuff, but hey, I'm trying to teach and help, and I want this to be fun. I want to go out and do all kinds of crazy fun stuff, but there has to be an amount of income from it to be able to have expenditures. That's the whole thing. So I am doing this to this car. This would be further along the IRS and coilovers going in this car. I'm still waiting for parts, and I need to order a few more parts. I decided I'm going to go ahead and change some more of the bushings in the IRS. I'm looking for a, if anyone has one, I might be interested in buying. We can work a deal. I'm looking for a strut tower brace. I really, with the coilovers in the front and with the chassis as flexible as it is from the factory, I do want to run a strut tower brace to stiffen it up. That guy's tires were loud. I do want to run a strut tower brace to stiffen this one up, but I'm trying to build the car I wanted to build 20 years ago, and not all of those parts are available anymore. And so, like, my phone has a Maximum Motorsports sticker on it. Everything here is from Maximum Motorsports. They're a smaller company than they were, though. They're having, you know, their strut tower braces, it says, like, due to worker shortage, they're out discontinued right now. So I'm looking for a STV-5, or I think 6 or 7. I can't remember the one. So the one for a GT, 9904 GT, and I also think the 9901 Cobra one would work as well, because the hood has the same profile, and I think it would work. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it would work. And so either one of those I'm looking for. I've put out a feeler to a few different Mustang auto parts salvage places, and hopefully I can find one. I know I could get one from Steeda, or I think UPR makes them. There's different companies that make them, but like I said, I'm trying to build the car I wanted to build 20 years ago, and that was Maximum Motorsports parts that I wanted. So looking for one of those strut tower braces. I'll go Steeda if I have to. What I very much don't want to do is cut holes for one and then find the other one that I want, and then the holes don't. That would be, I don't want to do that, because you got to drill into your strut tower brace, and you have to drill into your pinch weld up here on the cowl. And so if I have to drill, I'm drilling once. For the rear, I definitely want to do something. This is taking a little bit of a turn from my tire stuff, but so I've got the subframe connectors. I might add the convertible K-member brace thing that they had. I don't know exactly. I'm not doing the tubular K-member right now. I will do that later. That adds quite a bit more cost. So I've talked about it before. I've already got $5,500 and everything I'm doing to the car. And I still need to get a welder and tuner and other things to get the subframe connectors in and the gauges corrected for the gears. I'm looking at another $1,200–1,300 that I'm gonna have to spend. And I'm approaching 75% of what I even just paid for the car itself. Getting a little out of hand. Now, these cars are actually more valuable than when I bought it, which is really cool. It's probably worth $3,000, maybe $4,000 more than what I paid for it. That's really cool. But yeah, the price is getting out of hand. I only want to spend so much here. And so I'm not going to do the K-member right now. I will do the Maximum Motorsports K-member later. But unless I find a used one. If I find a used one, I might go ahead and buy it. Anyway, yeah, I want the strut tower brace. And then I'm going to start lightening some things. I think I'm going to drill take a hole saw and drill some holes in the front crash bumper and try to take 4 or 5 pounds out of it. Just any weight I can get off the front. I'm starting to look into some of the lightweight batteries. I don't really want to relocate the battery. I mean, I guess I could. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I like my trunk space, so I don't really want to do that. Because we take these cars to shows sometimes too, and it's like, we got our chairs, we got our collapsible canopy, we got coolers and stuff. I really don't want to give up trunk space because, again, it's still a car. I use it as a car. And so, yeah, I'm looking at lightweight batteries, different things. I'm probably going to get a carbon fiber hood at some point just to take a little weight off the nose that's high up. I would like to eventually get an aluminum block for this. That'd be pretty cool. Just like a WAP Mach 1 block with the 2-valve heads on it. Because I don't really want more horsepower, and I don't want the higher center of gravity, because I know that's aluminum block and aluminum heads and everything, but that car has a higher center of gravity from those double overhead cam heads being way up high. Don't want that. I'd even be tempted to go to an LS motor because the cams inside the motor, there's not overhead cams, and it's, you know, the center of gravity is lower. That'd be an interesting thing. But I like that the engine's stock. I like that it just works, and I don't really have to worry about this. And then I can focus on suspension and brakes. I kind of like that. That's fun to me. All right, that's my rant about tires. I think these tires are getting out of hand. Or these tires are so grippy these days that they are more of an aspect of what the car can do than the car itself. That bothers me. I want to know what the suspension can do, with how the setup of the car is, how it handles mid-corner bumps or coming out of the throttle a little bit mid-corner. With that particular car's weight distribution compared to other cars on the same tires. That's what I want to see. Like I started to say a second ago, if I can make this YouTube channel grow, if I can make this bigger, I kind of got off into my metrics, but if I can make this bigger, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a shop, and there's going to be the Mustangs, C5 and C6 Vet. I'll have an E46 M3, probably 350 or 370Z, and probably a 350Z. They're cheap. Anyway, but then have all of those cars on similar tires. They will be different widths for the car, right, and what the car needs, but have them all on similar treadwear tires, and then take them out and run them on the roads that I run them on. Obviously, I'm not pushing to the limits on back roads, but I want to know, you go through a corner pretty quick and you hit a mid-corner bump. How does this car do versus that car? And if you got a ton of extra mechanical grip from super grippy tires, it's going to overshadow what the suspension's actually doing. That's bothersome to me. Okay, this has been great. This has been fun. Happy weekend, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, check out the merch store. I'm not wearing one of my shirts, and this shirt has dog hair all over it because I have a white dog and wear black shirts. It's a problem. Anyway, check out the merch store, link in bio and in the video description. You go check out Corbeau Seats. I'm a Corbeau brand ambassador. I really like the Corbeau Seats. What else? There's something else in there too. Oh yeah, there's a suspension chart in there. 79 to 04 Mustangs in my video description. I have a chart that's shared with all of you. It's view only, but it has front springs, rear springs, IRS springs, front and rear, the different versions of those, all the factory ones from 79 to 04, a bunch of the aftermarket ones, the drops they provide. It shows wheel rates, so that you figure out the motion ratio and you get your wheel rate. So it shows your wheel rates of springs, so you can compare wheel rates of different spring setups. And then we have all the IRS. We have coilover spring rates in there. I've got all the sway bars in that chart. So yeah, that's in the video description. Check it out. It's a view-only file, like I said, on Google Sheets. And it's just a good source of information. And if you guys have any information you think I should add to it, send it over to me. Email me, put it in the comments, whatever. I'll check it out. I read all my comments. And so, yeah, I'll check it out and add information if it's good, and I can verify it and double check, because I always verify everything. Trust but verify, right? So anyway, yeah, if it's good information, I'll add it to the thing. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.